Hello everybody, welcome back to the show. I really like the system that I set up with the rail carts bringing creepers in from the spawner over the dimensional transceiver and the ender rails. I really like it. It just doesn't work. You can see here the cart is stuck, and this happens. If I stay here in this general area, this cart will just continually bring creepers, never any problems whatsoever. But once I go some distance away, even over to the factory, and come back, that cart has become stuck. And it's not an issue of loaded or unloaded chunks. I have a chunk loader that has this entire area loaded, keeps this entire area loaded at all times. I think it's really just the minecart itself. I don't have any other explanation for it other than that. Minecarts and boats in Minecraft have always kind of been a bit glitchy. It's like they sometimes certain problems get ironed out, other problems are introduced, but it seems like they are never perfect. There's always something going on with them. So while I like this system, I like what I came up with, the bottom line is it's just not working. So I need a different system, obviously. And for that end, I'm going to explore a mod I have called Enhanced Portals. And it's pretty much what it sounds like. It's the ability to create two portals, link them together, and then travel between them. And one of the things I like about it is, in an effort to make it more reasonable or fair, it does require power, and fortunately it does run on RF power. So I'm going to go ahead and try to do this using portals and see how well it works out. Before we get started on that, I'm going to kind of explore portals and show you how they work. So the first step is to make a dimensional bridge stabilizer, which is a multi-block structure, and it's a 2x3, and you need to have it at least 2 levels high. And once you have that, you can right click it with a wrench, I believe, and that will create the dimensional bridge stabilizer. Now you can build this as high as you like, well, up to 256 high, and this by itself will supply power to two portals. So each level that you go up is another portal that you can add to the system, but you have to make it complete the way you want it to begin with. In other words, if you wanted 3 portals, you'd have to build this 3 tall. Since I built it 2 tall, I can only put in 2 portals. If I want to add another level to this, I have to redo the whole thing and kind of start over. So you kind of have to plan things a little bit in advance. And in addition, but at the same time, you don't want to, well, you probably are not going to want to build these willy-nilly, for they require a diamond, 4 pearls, and 4 blocks of iron for each 6, or in other words, for each level. So they're pretty pricey items to make. But once you have this, all you have to do is supply it with power. So let me run some power lines to it. And you can see here, it now has power, which is obviously good. Maximum energy, stored energy, how much it's using, tab there, which it's not using any right now. It won't use any until we put in some portals for it to hook up to. You can use less power. As you can see here, the instability, that causes instability, which is dangerous for various reasons. I'm not exactly sure what can happen. So I haven't tested that, nor do I necessarily want to. I think I'll just keep it on normal. Thank you very much. But now that the dimensional bridge stabilizer is built, now we can actually create 2 portals. So I am going to just mess around and make 2 portals. Now, these portals that I'm going to make are going to require one each of a redstone interface, a portal controller, a network interface, and then of course it'll have the frames that'll go around it. And you can make these in pretty much any shape that you want. So let's just make one each of those, and I will finish out a portal that's just big enough to walk through. And you'll notice right off the bat that as I made this, those blocks that I put down, the redstone interface, the portal controller, and the network interface, they look just like the rest of the portal. You can't tell they're there. Now, you can use I made some, there they are, the glasses. These are also from the mod. If you use these and you wear them, now you'll see the different blocks. So that's an important thing to have. So let's go ahead and make this other one right here. Like so. And again, I'm just going to build a very simple thing that I will be able to walk through. Like so. Now, these blocks, the portal frames themselves are quartz blocks, iron ingots, and stone. The controllers take one of those portal frames and make a diamond with a diamond. The redstone interface requires the portal frame with 4 redstone. The network interface, portal frame with ender pearl. So maybe a little bit pricey, but not too terrible, but still, uses some materials that you're going to have on it. So once you're ready, I think you right click. No, you need to get the next step, which is we're going to go back down here to the dimensional bridge stabilizer. And another item that you need are these location cards. Location cards are made with lapis, paper, iron ingots, but you get 16 of them, which is really good. And the location card is sort of a link, if you will. So I'm going to take one of these, put it in here, and now you'll see it says location set. And I'm going to take 2 of them because I have 2 portals, and I'll have 2 of them with the location set. And what that does is it links the portal to this dimensional bridge stabilizer. So we'll go to this first one, to the dimensional controller, which is this purplish one here, and right click on it with the location card. That initializes it, and now you can see it kind of forms it into a multi-block structure. If I take the glasses off, you can see it looks like just one solid thing there. And I can do that with the other one as well. And that links these 2 portals to that dimensional bridge stabilizer. So if I go back down here and look at it, you'll see I have 0 active portals. I'm assuming that means because they're not actually active yet. All right. And now if you right click on the portal controller, now you can set up a unique identifier. And I'm going to get to that in just a moment. This one here is the redstone control, the redstone interface. And there are all kinds of different ways that you can use this. I don't really understand all of them, but the default is create a portal on signal. So if you put a lever on there, which is primarily how I'm going to use these portals, I think, then when it receives a signal, it will create a portal. Now, it won't do it just yet because it's not set up, but that's how that will work. Obviously, if you control this, you can create a portal on a pulse. You can remove the portal. You can do all these different things with this redstone interface. And in fact, you can have multiple redstone interfaces that do different things. And the reason for that is that when this is on and running, it uses power, it uses RF. So if it's a portal that you're not using all the time, shutting it off will keep you from wasting power. This one over here is the network interface, but you can see we can't use that one yet. We don't have a unique identifier. So let's go back to the portal controller, and here's where you have to set a unique identifier for each portal. That's how it, well, is identified. And the way you do that is you click in these little slots here, and you give it a symbol of some kind. So for example, in this case, I might use the diamond and then save it. Here you can set it to private or public, and private means it will only be accessible through the dimensional bridge stabilizer that I've established. Public means it would be accessible to other dimensional bridge stabilizers. So it just kind of depends on how you want to use it. Let's go over to this one and we'll set its unique identifier to emerald. So again, you want them to be different because they are different portals. The next thing you need to do is set the network identifier. And this is how you network 2 portals together. So I'm going to use the Wither Star. Oops, and you can obviously make different combinations. So, that would be a unique combination to that, etc. But I'm just going to use one Wither Star there to identify this network. And I'm going to use the same, oops. Oh, I guess I didn't set this. So this is set to Emerald, save. And this is going to be set to Wither Star, save. So now you can see on this Wither Star network identifier, there are two networked portals, which is obviously this one and that one. And so now if I turn on this portal by flipping that switch, you'll see the portal is created and there's one over there, and I will go between the two of them like that and going back through like that. And that's how the portals work. Basically, as I said, they work like you would expect portals to work. And if we go here, we can now see there are two active portals, and you can see I am using 10,000 RF per second or 500 RF per tick. Whew, that's expensive. Well, that's okay. I might have to build myself another reactor to keep up with power demands, but that will be all right. If I do need to do that, I will definitely do so. So 500 RF per tick. These portals are not cheap in the terms of the materials it takes to build them, as well as the power it takes to run them. And again, as I've mentioned, that is something that I like. I like the fact that it requires materials and power to run these things. They're not just free portals that allow you to jump around wherever you want to go with no effort whatsoever. So that's the basics on how these portals work. As you can see, obviously I can turn them off like so. I can turn this one on. It's going to connect back to that one because again, I only have the two, but that's the basics of how these portals work. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tear these down and I'm going to use them to transport the creepers from the spawning room here to the blood altar up there. So I didn't mention it before, but it is important to note that not only can you make these portals in any shape that you want them to be in, and they don't necessarily have to be square or rectangular as long as it's an enclosed shape, you can also put them horizontally as well as vertically. So you can see here I've made this one, which will hopefully make the creepers transport that way. So let me go ahead and flip this on like so. Is it working? Yep, seems to be. And cover it back up, and then I'm going to need to re-put down the water. So one there, one there, one there, and one there. And so they're all going towards that. That's good. Let me put back this glass like so and turn this on. So I need to see if the creepers are going to get transported. And it looks like they are. So let's head up here. Yeah, look at that. They are coming down. Look, they're all coming down through that hole. And there goes Mr. Drone doing his side of the business. So there you go. Enhanced portals. Now, there's a lot more to this mod. And in fact, there is a book that you can make. It just requires one of those location cards in a book. And reading through the book will give you some information. I wouldn't even say some information. It does explain a lot of the stuff. It isn't completely always clear on stuff. So you are going to want to probably watch a video of it to get some more details on it. But you can also add these modules here, and that requires a module manipulator, which is made like this. And these modules do things like not having the particle effects, having multicolored particle effects. You can silence the portal so it doesn't make any sounds if that noise kind of annoys you, which it does. The portal can be completely invisible. There's just all kinds of different things that you can do there with it. And then you can add these other pieces as well to it. And then there's also something called the nano brush, which is fairly simply made. And the nano brush allows you to paint the portals to be any color that you might possibly want them to be. So here, of course, their white is sort of that whitish color by default, but I could go in and I could paint those and make them a different color. So right off the bat here, I'm noticing that I'm getting this bunching up effect of the creepers here, which isn't maybe so ideal. Where did you go? Oh, where did you go to? Let's see, I took out my power source, so it's probable that, oops, let me get back up here if I can. It's probable that this doesn't have any, no it does. Huh, I don't know where Mr. Drone was going to. He must have got a little bit confused. It's possible, So I'm going to move things around a little bit. I'm going to move that portal up, I think, a couple of squares so that the creepers don't have a way to go back through the portal. And I'm also going to try and experiment where I make this portal bigger. So I was in the process of making that portal a little bit bigger. And then I thought to myself, wait a minute, why not just make the whole floor a giant portal? I mean, it should still theoretically work. I don't know if it will or not. And so what I also did is I put the redstone controller on this side with this redstone conduit to it, which is hooked up to this lever, which is the same lever that turns on the spawner itself. So in other words, when I turn on the spawner, it also turns on the portal. So now, as soon as the creepers spawn, they instantly get transported through the portal. Let's see if they come out over here properly. It looks like it. I haven't moved this up a level yet. Let's see if I get some creepers falling through. Yeah, they all fall through there just fine. So yeah, I was trying to figure out how I was going to do this with the water and stuff, and now I realized I don't really need to. So, you know, that's actually pretty darn cool. I'm going to show you how the nano brush works and some of the modules, because I want to get rid of the sound effect and I want to get rid of the particles. So let me work on that. I'm going to go ahead and shut this off for now. Let me go ahead and work on that real quick. Okay, so I've added a module manipulator, and as I said, I want to do at least two of these modules, one for the silencer and one for the particle effects. So if I turn this on again, you can hear the portal, and you see the blue particle effects. So if I go back in here and I can add the particle destroyer and the silencer, now when I run this, or turn it on I should say, no particles, and listen, no sound. So that is pretty cool. So this is the nano brush, and as I said before, this can be used to make the frame of the portal look however you like. So you can place custom frame textures in a resource pack to be usable here. I don't know what that means. Here you can actually change the color. If I wanted to just make it be green, I think I go like that. Oh, that's a bright green. But yes, you can just make the color to be whatever you want. You can also, let's see, what does this do? Oh, this changes what the portal looks like, the portal itself. And this changes, you can make the particles look like something, but I've already turned the particles off. And the facade here should mean I should be able to put something in there that makes it look like that. So let me get a piece of this green stained clay, because that's what I use to create everything else of the room. And let me put a green stained clay in there. And yeah, look at that. Now, well, that's weird. Put that back in there. Part of it looks like it and part of it doesn't. Very interesting. Take the glasses off. So see, now that disappears because the glasses are off. I don't know why this back part doesn't look correct. It should, theoretically. but for some reason, okay, now it's on there. Might just be a graphical update type of a problem. We'll put the glasses back on so I can see the components there. Very good. And in fact, I think what I'll also do is I'll change the portal to have sort of a dark green look to it. So now if I flip this on, yeah, see, it's like green. I wanted this room to be green because creepers are green. So yeah, it looks a little more appropriate to being, creepers. And again, without the glasses on, it just looks like one room of all the same color. So that's, pretty neat. So you can make your portals look kind of however you want them to be. You can make them almost any size you could possibly want them to be, and you can link them to where you want. And of course, the portals do work interdimensionally. I can make one in the nether and transfer myself back and forth, or mobs back and forth, or whatever I would like to do through these portals. And of course, the important part is having this dimensional bridge stabilizer, which you need you need a layer of these for each portal you have, and it will use quite a bit of power. It's not the cheapest thing in the world to run this, and that's okay. Again, I like the fact that it's balanced in that fashion. I exited out of the game and came back, and I noticed down here that a lot of the graphical cover-up, if you will, that I've created has disappeared. These glowstone blocks had been painted to resemble the green stained clay. This portal frame isn't disguised as the green stained clay like this part of the portal is. Even up here, these blocks are supposed to all be colored. So I'm not exactly sure. This is not displaying as a multi-block structure like it used to, yet it's still operating as the multi-block structure. So I'm not sure why there's a graphical issue there, although I will bet you anything that it has to do with Optifine. I'm betting that this is a problem with Optifine. So the next thing I noticed is when I turn on the portal, I've got particle effects and I've got the portal sounds. Very unusual. If I go here, let me put on my glasses and let me check this. I still have the silencer and the particle destroyer modules in there. And take the glasses back off. And now if I activate this, there is no sound and no particle effects. So that is very odd, and it may be because of Optifine. So, ooh, whoops. I honestly do not remember. I normally do not play with the Optifine mod because of the fact that it can cause various kinds of issues. There was a reason why I included Optifine, but I honestly don't remember what that was. Let me find out if I can remove Optifine and see if that clears up some of these problems. Okay, I've taken out Optifine, and coming back right off the bat, I notice the portal frame is colored correctly. The glowstone that was colored is correct even up here. This multi-block structure looks correct, and this is all correct down here. Let me check the thing with the portal. Yeah, see, this is obviously a bug with the enhanced portals mod, because I'm getting the particle effects and you can hear the sound effects out there as well. But I do still have the, let me see if I can access this. Yeah, oops, no, wrong one. I do still have a silencer and particle destroyer in there, so might just, and obviously looking at them then makes them work properly, but it might be just worth knowing that those module manipulator parts apparently don't work correctly if you log out and then log back into your game. But I am seeing that all of those graphical glitches are gone, so that was clearly something that was done by Optifine. And again, but I'm also noticing I have seriously reduced frame rate without Optifine. So don't get me wrong, Optifine is a good mod. It does increase your frame rate if you have a lot of issues with that. Optifine works good for that. But if you ever notice graphical glitches and you're using Optifine, try taking Optifine out and then seeing if the graphical glitches still exist. If they don't, it's because of Optifine. And Optifine does cause that because there are just so many mods that do things with graphics. It's just something that's always going to be an issue. So I will, of course, continue to use Optifine. I'm going to put it back in here in a bit. But again, just something for you to be aware of, that Optifine will cause sometimes various graphical glitches. So if you notice them, take Optifine out first before you go back to the mod author and say, oh, your block here didn't form correctly. It did. It was Optifine that didn't display it correctly. Same with all the stuff here. But what I can confirm is this bug that I showed with the particles and the noise, even though I have those in the module manipulator. So that is one thing. So that's going to do it for this episode. I explored the enhanced portals mod, and I'm using them to transport creepers to my blood altar. Leave me a comment, tell me what you think about this mod or about anything else that I have going on or I have been doing. If you have questions, feel free to leave those as well. As always, I really appreciate you joining me. Thank you very, very much, and I'll see you next time.